Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. The honorable mention for Mrs. Nikma and all of my colleagues who attended this presentation. I'm Alia Rahma as a final year accounting major, and today I'm going to present my final project with the title of Accounting Treatment of Fixed Asset based on PSAP number 7 at the Environmental and Forestry Service of Central Java Province. So the table of content, there are several topics that I will going to present. First of all, I'm going to give my presentation about the background, and the second one is problem formulation, object of the research, benefit of the research, and literature review, and the last one is research method. So the background of my final project was Government Accounting Standard Statement PSAP in Indonesian. Number 7 is the main guideline in the accounting treatment of fixed asset in government agencies. PSAP number 7 regulates important aspects such as recognition, measurement, depreciation, and disclosure of fixed asset. The purpose of this standard is to ensure that government financial reports can present reliable, relevant information in accordance with applicable accounting principles. So the problem formulation, there are two problem formulation in my final project. The first one is how is the recognition, measurement, and presentation of fixed asset in the financial statement of the Central Java Provincial Environmental and Forestry Service in 2024. And the second one is how is accounting treatment of fixed asset in the Central Java Provincial Environmental and Forestry Service in accordance with Government Accounting Standard Statement or PSAP in Indonesian number 7. The next one is object of the research. There are 2 points of my object of the research. First one is identifying of the accounting treatment of fixed assets at the Environmental and Forestry Service of Central Java Province in 2024, including recognition, measurement, and presentation in the financial statement. And the last one, or the second one, is analyzing the conformity of the accounting treatment of fixed assets at the Environmental and Forestry Service of Central Java Province with the Government Accounting Standard Statement, or PSAP number 7. Next is benefit of the research. So there are 3 benefits. First of all is for the writers. The author is able to identify the accounting treatment of fixed asset at the Environmental and Forestry Service of Central Java Province in 2024, including recognition, measurement, and presentation in financial statement. Next is the author is able to analyze the conformity of the accounting treatment of fixed asset at the Environmental and Forestry Service of Central Java Province with the Government Accounting Standard Statements or PSAP number 7. Next is for Semarang State of Polytechnic as a reference and additional information for students who will conduct research on the accounting treatment of fixed assets, especially with government agencies as objects. And the last one is for Dinas Lingkungan Hidup dan Kehutanan Provinsi Jawa Tengah or Environmental and Forestry Service of Central Java Province with the Government Accounting Standard Statement PSAP number 7 as input in the management of fixed asset and as a consideration to improve performance related to the management of fixed assets. Literature review. So first of all is accounting based on Bakhtiar 2009-11 explains that accounting is defined as a service activity to provide financial information to users in order to make decisions. For this activity, the process of recording, classifying, and summarizing financial transactions arising from organizational activities is carried out to produce financial information in the form of financial position at a certain time, result of activities for a period ending at a certain time, accompanied by an interpretation of the financial information. Is government accounting. Government accounting is an accounting mechanism that processes financial transactions related to the management of state finance both at the central and regional levels. Meanwhile, public sector accounting extends to all entities that aim for the welfare of the community, such as non-governmental organizations or NGOs, social foundation, and public and private sector cooperation projects, based on Murshidi 2009. Next is Government Accounting Standards. According to Government Regulation Number 71 of 2010, Article 1, Paragraph 3 concerning Government Accounting Standards, hereinafter abbreviated as SAP, are accounting principles applied in preparing and presenting government financial reports. The government accounting standards that have been in effect since 2010 are those regulated in Government Regulation Number 71 of 2010 as a replacement of Government Regulation Number 24 of 2005. Next is fixed assets. According to PSAP, Government Accounting Standard Statement Number 7 2010, 2011, fixed assets are tangible assets that have a useful life of more than 12 months to be used or intended to be used in government activities or utilized by the general public. Fixed assets are very important in supporting the activities of government in agencies because fixed assets can function as supporting components in carrying out an activity so that they can increase the productivity of government agency. Next is fixed assets concept. The concept of fixed asset is explained in the Government Accounting Standard Statement or PSAP number 7 of 2010 concerning fixed asset accounting, which discusses the recognition, assessment, acquisition, depreciation, retirement, and disclosure of fixed asset. The law is one of the guidelines in preparing the balance sheet. PSAP is a standard applied to all government units that present financial statements of general purposes and regulates their accounting treatment, including the recognition, assessment, presentation, and disclosure required. Next is asset recognition. There are three asset recognition. PSAP number 7 in Government Regulation number 71 of 2010 states that fixed assets are recognized with future economic benefits, can be obtained, and their value can be measured reliably to be recognized as an asset only if it meets the criteria. So first one is tangible, second is has a useful life of more than 12 months, third one is the acquisition cost of the asset can be measured reliably, and the last one or the fourth is not intended for sale in the normal operations of the entity. Next is classification of fixed assets. Fixed assets can be classified or grouped into several types of assets according to their function and use based on Palending 2022. Fixed assets are classified as land, equipment, and machinery, buildings and structures, roads, irrigation, and networks, other fixed assets, and construction in buildings. In addition to the 6 classification of fixed assets, as mentioned above in PSAP number 7, there are also 3 types of assets that have special characteristics that are included in fixed asset, namely heritage assets, infrastructure assets, and military assets. So the next one is measurement of fixed assets. Fixed assets acquired should be measured at fair value at the time the fixed assets are acquired based on Palending 2022. For the purpose of this statement, the use of fair value at the time of acquisition for the above condition does not constitute of evaluation or re-evaluation process and remains consistent with the acquisition cost as stated above. Evaluation of fixed asset is only applied to the assessment for the next reporting period, not the time of initial acquisition. For the purpose of preparing an entity's initial balance sheet, the acquisition cost of fixed assets used in the fair value at the time the initial balance sheet is prepared. For subsequent periods after the initial balance sheet date, for the acquisition of new fixed asset and entity use the acquisition cost of fair price if there is no acquisition cost. Next is depreciation of fixed assets. Depreciation of fixed asset depreciation according to KSO 2010. Next is depreciation of fixed asset. Depreciation of fixed asset according to KSO 2008. Depreciation is a means of cost allocation. Depreciation is the accounting process of allocating the cost of tangible assets to expand in a systematic and rational manner in those periods expected to benefit from the use of the assets. According to PSAP number 7, depreciation method that can be used include straight line method, is a method of allocating premium or discount with three equal amounts throughout the period of government debt securities. The formula was depreciation expense is acquisition price means residual value uh, equal estimated useful life. So the next one is double declining balance method. Depreciation expense mean acquisition price divided by economic life times 2. And the unit of production method, the formula was depreciation expense means acquisition price means residual price times usage divided by maximum capacity. Apart from the land construction in progress, all fixed assets are depreciated according to the nature and characteristic of the assets. Next one is research method. So, definition of research methodology according to Sugiono 2019, a research method is a scientific way to obtain data with specific purposes and uses. The research method is the process of activities in the form of data collection, analysis, and providing interpretation related to the research objectives. From this statement, it can be concluded that the research method is the process of activities that includes data collection, analysis, and providing interpretation related to the purpose of obtaining data with specific use. So there are types of data. First one is data according to the source. Primary data according to Jens Bastian Sally 2022. Primary data is data that is taken or collected directly from the source. This study did not use primary data because the data was obtained directly from the asset management staff of the Central Java Provincial Environmental and Forestry Service. And the second one is secondary data. Secondary data is obtained from the other parties without measuring or taking data directly on the object being studied. Based on Janus Bastian Sally 2022. In this case, there are secondary data in the form of profile from the Central Java Provincial Environmental and Forestry Service and a recapitulation of fixed asset mutation in 2024. A report on depreciation of fixed asset in 2024 and a financial report in 2024. Second one is data by nature. There are two data by nature. First one is qualitative data according to Sugiono 2019. A qualitative data is the form of words, sentences, narrative, body movement, facial expression, chart, images, and photos. In this case, qualitative data is in the form of profile of the environmental and forestry service in the form of a general description, position, duties, and function, organizational structure along with its duties and function. Is quantitative data based on Sugiono 2019 explained that quantitative data is data in the form of numbers or qualitative data that is scored. This study uses quantitative data in the form of the 2024 financial report, which contains operational reports, SAL change reports, balance sheet, and notes to the financial statements. This data is also equipped with a recapitulation of 2024 asset list and a list of asset depreciation in 2024. So, types of data. Data collection method is an important step in conducting research. Therefore, it is necessary to have a data collection method that is accordance with the research to be conducted. The data collection method in this study are as follows. Interview. Interview is a data collection technique used by researchers to find problems that must be studied with the aim of finding out more in-depth information about respondents. Based on Sugiono 2019, in this case, interviews are conducted by asking questions directly to employees in the accounting field, especially those related to fixed asset management and treasurers as financial official. Next one is documentation. Based on Sugiono 2019, explains that documentation is a record of past event in the form of writing, pictures of monumental works from a person. This study uses data in the form of hard files in the form of printed financial reports document for 2024, a list of assets mutation for 2024, and a list of asset depreciation for 2024. So the writing method used in conducting the research are as follows. Descriptive method. This writing method is used to describe the general description of the environmental and forestry service, which includes a general description, position, duties, and function organizational structure along with its duties and functions. Next one is expository. This method is used to describe and explain the treatment of fixed asset of the environmental and forestry service, starting from recognition, classification, measurement to disclosure in the financial statement. I guess that's all from my presentation. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.